Hey everybody, welcome. This is Tuesday, December 22nd. Think about that day for a second. What that means, your last day of school, even though you're remote, you're supposed to still be in school. And this is our last chance to help you get through everything so you have nothing to do over break. All right, Twisted Foxy's watching it on his phone again.
Yeah, that's Elijah. We got two Elijahs here.
Elijah Bobbitt. Nice.
Both Elijahs.
Elijah Bobbitt, thanks for joining us, although you're probably well beyond this point right now. But we're happy to see you. Rosa, hello. Look, it's an actual roll call today, Mrs. Smith.
Woo! We can do a roll call.
Oh my gosh, it's almost like our live streams from last year, which were epic. I love them. Anybody else? Anybody else saying hi in the chat? If not, we're getting right into it. So, if this is your first time here, which would mean you're lurking right now, you can go back through any of these videos. We've gone over the cell part chart. We went over the plant and animal cell thing, and today we are finishing going over the lab. We went over half of the lab yesterday. The goal is for you to be done before break so you don't have to do anything over break. But let me tell you our little selfish backstory to that is that we would like to be done before break so we don't have to do anything over break. So if you are not done, we still would really highly suggest over break you do the work, have it done. But I probably wouldn't look for too much from us as far as grading it and stuff goes until maybe the Sunday before we come back. Because we're going to take a week off. And you should too.
If you're where you need to be.
If you're where you need to be. All right, let's do this. We did part A, B, and C of the lab yesterday. Part D is what we're starting on today. If I share said lab with you, there we go. You would see a picture like this. That picture's talking about the chloroplast. Notice here we have several cells, and the cells are these kind of rectangular shaped objects. Not perfectly rectangular, but life isn't perfect. Right? It kind of looks like we're building a brick wall, but there's some irregularity there. The big thing in this picture to point out are all of these little green circles. These green circles are chloroplasts. So, two things. They're kind of put together. The cells are side by side like stacked bricks. They have this thick area in between them, which should jump out at you as the cell wall. They have chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are green. They're full of chlorophyll. That makes food. You should really be thinking this is probably a plant cell. Okay? This is really cool. If we were looking at this live in the classroom, you would actually see the chloroplasts moving around the cell. They move. And if you just would go to YouTube and type in chloroplast in a cell, you'd probably see a video of that happening. But anyway, Mrs. Smith, would you like to go through part D of the questions with them?
So specifically, we're looking at, like Mr. Suter said, a plant cell and the chloroplast there. But we're looking at something called Elodea. And so Elodea, when you see it in person, kind of looks like seaweed type of plant. If you know what seaweed looks like, it's similar to that. So the shape of the cell, though, like Mr. Suter said, is kind of rectangular, although not perfectly rectangular, or kind of that little bit of a hexagon, elongated hexagon shape. And then it is a plant cell. So yes, it has a cell wall. The color of the chloroplast would be green. The shape of the chloroplast are kind of these little ovals that you see. So it says, within what cell part already studied do chloroplasts lie? So again, it's within the cytoplasm. Chloroplasts function to specifically make glucose, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next unit. Some of my students are there already, actually done with that section when we talk about photosynthesis. So kudos to them if they're happen to be watching this. But basically, chloroplasts help to make food in very simple terms for plants. And are chloroplasts usually present in consumer cells? So this kind of goes back to, can you remember 8th grade and remember the difference between a producer and a consumer? Or we'll get this year a little bit more fancy with the words and start talking about autotroph and heterotroph. So a consumer is something that eats something else. So if we were able to just produce our own food, we wouldn't need to eat anything. But we're not. We're not producers. We're consumers. So we have to eat something else. So no, we don't have chloroplasts in our cells.
Just a little interesting thing to add to that. Notice the word usually. Are chloroplasts usually present in consumer cells? One of the things you can never do in biology is pretty much say always. Because anytime you say always about life, life will show you kind of an exception to that rule. And so if some of my students did the protist lab, and one of the things they saw in the protist lab was euglena having chloroplasts, but also being a consumer. So usually. I just thought
the Keystone loves to throw stuff like that at you, where they will give you some individual one exception to the rule.
Oh, look who's here. Allie's here. Woo. All right, so that is part D, the chloroplast. Now we're moving on. We have 2 slides to look at this plant or animal cell. The first slide looks like this. Again, it looks like bricks stacked up on their end. It'd probably be better if we turned it a little bit, but it looks like bricks. And so the other thing that you have to, and I want to point it out with this cell to remember, is cells are 3-dimensional, right? It's not just a rectangle, it's a brick. It's 3-dimensional. So in this slide that you're looking at here, if you look kind of closely, you can almost get the impression that there might be cells underneath of the cells that you're seeing, or something going on there that it's thicker, just saying. Am I seeing anything inside these cells? And you might go, well, yeah, I see something inside them, but I'm thinking what you're seeing is things underneath of them or above them. These cells look, I'm just giving you some hints here. These cells look empty to me. I don't see cell parts in there. In fact, I can tell you this cell came from, I just held it up to the microphone, came from this. So this is an instrument reed, and an instrument reed is made out of bamboo. So the slide was made from that. All right, sorry. And then the next cell in this section looks like this. This is frog blood. This slide was very hard for Mrs. Smith to make. She doesn't like killing the frog and squeezing the blood out and all that. But she's awful. I mean, I had to go in the other room because she gets maniacal. This is frog blood. So we have these little circular cells. Notice it's not stacked up like a brick wall, right? Not stacked up like a brick wall. It has something on the outside. Mrs. Smith earlier this week was talking about how water will take the shape of whatever container it's in. So it has something around the outside kind of giving it shape. It has a dark spot in the middle, which probably should jump out at you as something. Yeah. Well, I should say poor frog. Yeah, I mean,
no.
You just don't even know what it's like and when she gets in that mood. So Tally's here. Hi, Tally. All right, go ahead.
What I was going to say, like you talked about the plant cell not being, one-dimensional. So just a reminder, when we're talking about animal cells, you know what I mean? We're talking about something that's not like a picture like we drew of the smiley face, but like is 3-dimensional. Now, they can get squished, you know what I mean, into little donut type shapes when we're talking about something like a blood cell, but it is like 3-dimensional. So just making sure that you are remembering that when we're thinking about things that, we're not flat. We're not, in the books that my son loves, Flat Stanley. Okay, we are 3-dimensional objects.
All right. So we're doing part E.
So the shape of bamboo cells, again, kind of rectangular, if you want to look at it that way, because they're plant cells. Can a cell wall be seen in bamboo? Yes. Okay, even though it's empty, as Mr. Suter said, because it's not living right now, the cell wall, just like the core, kind of still hangs tight, and we can see that. So bamboo is a plant cell, since it has a cell wall. The shape of frog blood cells, again, circular, but technically more spherical, or kind of an oval, 3-dimensional oval shape. Can a cell wall be seen in frog blood cells? So many times students say, yeah, I can see the cell wall. No, you can't. You can see the cell membrane, but it's a animal cell, and so you're not going to see a cell wall. So just be careful about that. Our blood cells from a producer or a consumer, and so it is from a animal that is a consumer, since they're going to eat a plant. The last time I checked, I didn't, cut open a plant and see blood, which would be good. So it's going to be in a blood cells are in a consumer. Cell part used to describe the outer edge of the frog blood cell. I kind of said that a little bit already. Cell membrane or plasma membrane. And the cell part name used to describe the dark center would be the nucleus.
There is a question on this lab. Well, that one that you went over, and then I think back up here when you're doing it, drawing the frog blood, it says label the cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, only if these parts are present. I have in the past been so tempted to just give zeros to anybody that labels a cell wall in a frog blood cell. It's just, it's no.
There is no cell wall. Read the directions.
I should say, at this point, we should say no frogs were hurt in the making of this video.
Yes, I did not kill any frogs. And when I dissect organisms, they are already dead.
We're not going to talk about the stack of dead cats she has in the back of her room. All right, so moving forward.
Where the drawers full of, the cabinets full of like buckets of parts of animals, go on.
The analysis part of this we think you can do. The first thing is just like, is it animal or plant? And you, I think at this point, if you've been following along with us, you know that plants and animals have all the same parts, except for that cell wall and chloroplast in the plant, except for the centrioles in the animal. We think you can get that. And on this last part, it wants you to label the cells and draw in some cell parts. That might be hard for you to draw in cell parts if you're doing this digitally. I will say that. So we can kind of maybe overlook that a little bit, especially if you've been here today. In fact, I think what we have been saying is if you've been here and gone through these things with us, if you just go into Moodle and watched it in the live stream within the next couple minutes, we'll check it off for you. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Anything else?
Right. So Elijah, that's all you have to do. Go in there, say you're done. Watch it in the live stream. Mrs. Smith goes in, puts the points in for it, and then you take that quiz that you owe me.
Yeah, and so after this lab, there's a quiz and I think a little vocab quiz, maybe something like that that you would want to do to finish up.
So if you followed along with us, then you're not going to take the time now to go and finish the lab. You just did it with us, which is great if you're right now watching it. So now you can go take a couple of minutes, take that cell parts and function quiz, and then there's a vocab quiz, and that completely finishes up the cell unit.
Yeah, then you're done. So any questions in the chat? Anybody want to put anything in the chat question-wise? Certainly we're wishing you a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and happy holidays, and all the other whatever potential holiday you may or may not celebrate. So we just hope you have a great...
For the rest.
Yeah, it's Festivus for the rest of us, and they probably won't know that. Anything else? I don't see anything in chat. Can you send me the link?
Send link.
I can send the link for lots of things. What do you want a link for? You want the video of Mrs. Smith brutalizing frogs? Is that what you're looking for? The link for that?
I have no video of that.
All right. I think that's it, Mrs. Smith. Oh, the quiz. Dude,
that's a noodle.
Wait. I'm not in Mrs. Smith's class, and I know everything is in her Moodle. All right. Hallie, I will hang this up and open my Zoom room, and you can jump in. Cool.
And I will see who is knocking at my door right now.
All right. Have a wonderful break. We'll see you all soon. Peace.
Blue.